Hi, I'm Sarah Bozich, and welcome to What's on Tap. In this episode, I sat down with Tara Chickey. Tara is a local artist, teacher, herbalist, and curator, and will soon be the art manager for the new Millworks project in Midtown Harrisburg. I usually start by asking people how they ended up in Harrisburg, but you're from the area, right? So, but you grew up?
I grew up in Grantville area.
Okay.
I went to Lower Dauphin and, went to school and then ended up coming back.
Did you intend to stay here? Because I know I didn't at first.
I didn't, no. I went to school in Lancaster, and then I decided to move to Baltimore with a couple of friends, and I was teaching in a school that was quite rural, so I was traveling probably like an hour a day to work, and the school was it was tragic. I actually questioned whether or not I wanted to be a teacher. Wow. And so then I was looking into the possibility of just quitting, and it turned out that I had the opportunity to open up the Mantis Collective with Andrew.
Oh, wonderful.
And at the time there was another person involved, and I quit my job and moved back to the area and moved into Harrisburg, and it was a great opportunity for me. And then I found a good job at Central Dauphin, and I was teaching art there for the past 11 years. And so, no, I wasn't intending it, but I'm happy to be here.
What came first? So your love of teaching or your love of art?
Yeah, I think my love of art, obviously I was really interested in that ever since I was young. And then I guess it was how could I make a living with art and still enjoy what I'm doing and not feel like I'm selling out. So it turned out to be teaching was the right choice for me for that time period. And I found that it actually inspired my work too, to teach, because you're constantly working around these creative individuals and sharing your love of what you do, and being inspired by them as well. So it's a nice balance.
How did you sort of find your love for art too? Is there someone in particular that inspired you, or?
Yeah, my parents are really creative people. My dad is one of those that will do anything. He reminds Caleb and I of Ron Swanson. He just does his thing, and awesome. He'll just figure it out. And he's a fantastic woodworker and is very creative in that way. He's an engineer by trade and is able to figure anything out. So I think I saw that at a young age. So I never was concerned about being able to do something. It always allowed me just to try it. So like if I saw something and I wanted to replicate it or read about something, I wanted to try it, it was very easy to do because I think I saw that as a model at a young age. And my mother, she's very creative in her own way too. She's a quilter and does beautiful things with fabric, and she does wonderful clothing design. And so I think I saw that both of them are not artists, they're not painters, but they're artists in their own way, for sure.
Tell me how you got into herbalism.
Okay. I got into herbalism when I started getting a little bit more concerned about my body and what I was putting into it, and I started a garden and started to become really fascinated with the weeds around the plants and what all of that meant. And I took a little weed walk with this woman in York County who owns Sonnewalds, and I just got really fascinated with all of this abundance that's constantly surrounding our cities and the meadows and everywhere, right? The woodlines and
my garden.
Your garden, yeah. And how nourishing they are and how great they are for you. So I studied with an herbalist named Susan Weed up in Woodstock, New York, and that just blew open my mind and just really got me into the idea of making this part of my daily practice. And it just seemed natural to get into making things that could help people. So I got into making salves and making lip balms and tinctures and vinegars, and over the past year I started selling them at various places like Yoga Nature and Harvest and Stash, and I've been getting really great reviews on them, so I just feel like why not keep doing it. It's a beautiful way to kind of blend packaging and design with things that I love to make and create.
So tell me about what you do at Yoga Nature.
Well, first of all, two amazing people own it, and that's Misha Kashok and Sarah Rose Bryant. And I guess they've had that space for about 3 years now, and I love like their name, Yoga Nature, just encompasses everything they're about. They're about the idea of living yoga, and so many people look at yoga as just bending into these little pretzels, and there's so much more to it than that. And they really are focusing on the idea of community and bringing various people in to teach workshops or do different things. And I have, over the past few years, I've taught various things. I do healing with medicinal herbs with Sarah Rose. So I talk about a few herbs based on the season and how to make medicines out of it, how to make tinctures or honeys or vinegars. And she'll teach a yoga class, and then we go for a little wander and talk with the plants. And we get to kind of work in that way. So blending yoga with the plants and with gardening. And I've taught various painting classes. I've taught a drum making workshop and a rattle making workshop.
Wow.
So it's really beautiful because they're open to different ideas and open to just exciting alternative workshops that typically you don't see at a yoga studio.
Yoga Nature also has a new organic farmers market.
Yeah, they do. They just started that this year, a couple of weeks ago, and the intention with that was, there's a lot of great markets around here, and they're not denying that, but there is not a market that's completely organic, and they're bringing music every Sunday and also allowing a craft vendor to come, and yeah, it's a beautiful, beautiful way just to be with the community there.
So how did you get involved in the Millworks project?
Josh Kessler, who is the man behind the whole master plan, he bought the building and approached me back in the fall to take care of the art element of it and manage that side of it. So of course I was very excited. It will house a variety of things. It's a farm-to-plate restaurant, a bar, a beer garden, a rooftop deck, and also 23 artist studios and several gallery spaces that I'll be curating monthly, and a communal room that's going to have equipment that the artists can use at any time. And that includes a printing press, a kiln, a wheel, a complete wet darkroom, and large work tables to teach classes or to work on a larger scale if it's kind of not going to suit their studio.
Why do you think, and I don't know if you can speak from where Josh was coming from or how you feel about this, but like the importance of sort of integrating the community into the art?
Mm-hmm. I think that's incredibly important because actually this is something that Josh had mentioned one time. Like, for him, he wasn't one to like go to an opening, right? But yet he really still loved to experience art, and he's a musician himself. And I think that's important because a lot of people feel a little maybe shy or timid in going into a gallery space, right? Like it feels sometimes a little overwhelming. Maybe you'd feel like am I going to be approached? Do I have to talk about this work? But when you have it blending with all of these different elements, it just feels more accessible to me, and it's definitely more accessible to the community. So if you're there, even though you might not know how to talk about work, you'll be able to, I like that painting or I like that sculpture. And I think that's important, especially for trying to create that idea of community and appreciation of the arts when of course we're bombarded with art in every aspect of our lives, but to actually experience a studio, it's quite different, right? Mm-hmm. So I think the beauty of this is, yes, you get to experience all of these different elements, but in the same breath you get to say like, oh, there's the artist that created this piece, and I could actually go and talk to them if I wanted to. And I think that's a neat element.
How does city life balance with your love for nature?
Oh, that's a good one. Well, I just love the community of Harrisburg. I like the people who live here. I like the people who are doing great things. And I couldn't remove myself from that completely, but I love being in nature because it inspires all of my work and all of my creation, and it just grounds me. So the balance between the two is wonderful, really. Like, I love our home in Midtown or Old Uptown. And equally, I love how quickly you can get out into nature here. I think this is a city that is so accessible for so many reasons. Like, it's an easy place to live, it's an affordable place to live, and then in the same breath, you can be on the Appalachian Trail in 5 minutes, and you can have your own garden in I mean, there's so many different plots that you can rent gardens, but I'm lucky enough to have it at my parents' house. But yeah, the balance is important to me. I like to feel a part of the community, and I think that's what Harrisburg does for us.
So I noticed on your website that you like to travel, but that particularly that you had some time in Iceland that really inspires you. Can you tell me about that trip?
It's truly a magnificent place to be. It's the landscape is so beautiful and so vast, and you can literally be alone without seeing anyone, and for hours, and you could be driving through this tiny little town, and then all of a sudden it's nothing, right? You've got glaciers, you have amazing beaches, and not in the beaches of like Hawaiian beaches, right? Gorgeous like black sand beaches from volcanoes, and glacier ice coming down and sitting on the black sand beaches. I mean, it's like a photographer's dream come true. You could literally just close your eyes and snap and get a beautiful picture. But the people are really great, the music scene is great, the art scene is great. It's just a really inspirational place to be.
So how has that influenced your work then?
Heavily. I take sketchbooks when I travel, and I do a lot of just jotting down notes, or I might paint, or I might draw, but my work is definitely inspired by landscape, but when you look at it, you wouldn't really think like this is a plein air painter, you know. I'm not like capturing the river along the front street, but in the same breath, my work is inspired by the line and the form and the feelings of what I get when I'm there, so I tend to create my own little emotional journey through my paintings, and I'm able to still work with what I see. So I might draw a volcano, I might draw like a glacier, and that might go into my work, but in the same breath, it's not a complete representation of what I'm seeing.
You are an artist, you're a teacher, you're a craftswoman, and now you'll be a curator again. What's number one for you? Like, what is the thing that sort of like, is there one that rises? No?
I don't think there is number one. I think that's part of my, people often say that I'm very prolific, like I'm very productive, and I think it's because I just really like doing different things. And I think I would be completely bored if I was just a painter, or if I was just an herbalist, or if I was just doing this. Like, I feel like we have so many entities in us, and we have so many ways of, well, I have so many different ways of creating that I think all of them are incredibly important in my life, and they just have all blended to make me who I am now.
Tara, thank you so much for joining me today. It was great to talk to you, and good luck. Cheers.
Thank you. Cheers.
Let's just do that one more time so it's just clear. Just cheers.
Okay. Cheers.
Cheers.
Well, thanks for joining us.
Oh, you literally just said cheers, Nick. Come on, man. Town's a little sweaty and hot here. Not thinking.